I've really been looking forward to making this guide. Emma Frost is incredibly fun in Marvel Rivals, and her kit is dynamic and has a very strong sense of identity. Like, they knew what they were doing with her. She's a bit of a dominatrix to the core. Her kit reflects that. Her character design reflects that. And I know I'm like kind of late to getting a guide up. You know, hundreds of Emma guides went up the day that she dropped. But if you've been around my channel, you know that's not me. If you know anything about my guides, you know that I don't make a guide for a character until I have at least 20 hours of actual gameplay on that character. And today is no different. I have played the ever-living crap out of Emma Frost since she dropped. So I have some things in this video that those other guides won't tell you, because there was no way they could have known since they rushed those out. You know, one thing many people immediately fixated on with Emma Frost was her anti-dive capabilities. And that's, you know, definitely something that we'll hit in this video, because let's be honest, this moment right here is so dang satisfying.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man! With the amazing Spider-Man! Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man! Don't mess with the amazing...
It's that moment when the reality of their situation sinks in and they know what's about to happen to them. And don't feel bad for them, by the way. You know, knowing Spidey mains, they actually enjoy this. So we'll definitely cover anti-dive in this video. But I want to start somewhere else, because so many guides out there are oversimplifying her and it's a bit reductive. Emma has another huge strength, and that's her ability to duel tanks, even in a 1v2 if necessary. So Emma Frost is a frontline tank, right? She's not a dive tank, she's not a niche tank of some kind. She's a bona fide frontline hero, which means she's very likely to be engaged with enemy vanguards a lot. So since that's where you're going to be spending most of your time, I want to start with a key combo that you're going to want to ingrain into your brain right now. Learn it, perform it, repeat it. This is one of the things that will immediately separate a bad Emma Frost from a scary Emma Frost. This combo is E-Shift-E. It's the E-Shift-E combo, or rather the Psychic Spear, Diamond Form, Carbon Crush. So on PC, that's E-Shift-E. If you're on controller, just, you know what these abilities are. So just do the same thing, whatever your inputs are. Let me break this down for you. We'll go over every ability and how and when to use them in just a minute. But I wanted to start the video with what I believe is the most important thing that you could learn today. So let me break it down. First, we perform the Psychic Spear attack, which pulls a soul fragment out of the enemy. Normally, you would just start damaging that fragment and try to break it for big damage, but instead, we're immediately going to hit Shift to enter our Diamond Form. And then we're going to hit E again, which will now perform a Carbon Crush, where we, choke hold the enemy, turn 180 degrees, and then slam them onto the ground. Now stop right there and notice something. The enemy is now right on top of the soul fragment that we ripped out of them, or they're right next to it, right? So now we perform 2 punches and then a right-click crystal kick. And look at how much damage we've done here. Look at this. That's because our 2 punches and our kick are doing damage to the enemy directly, but they're also doing damage to the soul fragment and then breaking it, dealing huge damage. So we're basically getting double damage sources, 1 input, twice as many damage sources. That makes sense. They stack on each other to do insane damage. It's like a 2-for-1. Now, I really hate when content creators bait you guys with unrealistic combos. They'll show it in practice range and they'll be like, all you gotta do is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then look, boom, you've destroyed the enemy team. That's not practical. But this combo right here is extremely practical. You won't be able to use it in every encounter. You'll have to read the room, see when it's right. But I do this a lot, and you'll see a ton of it in the gameplay, in the actual background gameplay against real players, not bots. So learn this combo, ingrain it into your head, use it. You'll do insane burst damage to big targets. This is your primary means of deleting enemy tanks right here. It's great against Groot, great against Captain America. It's even great against other Emma Frost. So there's more you can do with it, like, you could open with your shield and put it behind the enemy to block off any incoming heals. I mean, there's plenty of modifications you can do, but that's only if you have the time to set it up. But at the very base level, just remember E-Shift-E. All right, let's move on and start breaking down the nuance of her kit. So we'll hit each major ability, but instead of just like reading them off, We'll talk about how to best use them, starting with her mind's Aegis, or rather her shield that she can project. This shield is so versatile. It's got 500 hit points, and you can really place it anywhere you can see. So just hold the input, it'll start moving away from you. Let go of the input, it'll stop wherever it is when you let go of the input. So let's talk about application. We'll start simple and we'll get more complex. So obviously you can put it in front of you or in front of a teammate to provide protection from incoming fire. You can shoot through it, they cannot shoot through it. That's the most obvious use, right? Put it in front of you so you don't take damage. You can press F to recall the shield if you don't like where you put it, or maybe it takes too much damage, you want to recharge it, you can just recall it and start the cooldown. But there are other applications too, like putting it in front of an enemy sniper up in their perch to block them from being able to take advantage of their angle that they're at. Maybe a Moon Knight, like this, jumps up on a rock to try and rain down AoE damage onto your team. You can just put the shield right in front of them and block everything he's doing. You can block Hawkeyes, block Widows very easily by just putting it in front of them. They fire so slowly that it'll take them some time to deal with your shield, so they're probably better off just repositioning. But let's talk about some more complex applications to the shield. What about in close quarters? Okay, so I'll show you a clip here where I probably should have died, but I made good use of the shield to keep myself alive. I'm overextended and I need to backpedal to my team or to a health pack, but I get pushed by 2 enemy duelists and I have very low health. But instead of just, trying to dish out as much damage as I can before going down, I actually keep redeploying my shield to block their fire. So I put the shield up in front to separate us, I do damage, I backpedal, I redeploy the shield when they move forward, redeploy it again so it's in front of them and in front of me, separates us again. I use my primary fire to damage them. So I do that a few times. I'm able to backpedal enough to get the health pack that I know is behind me. I end up surviving the encounter and getting some kills out of it. So redeploying it in the middle of combat, you can even sort of, if you're right up close on like a Venom or something, you can kind of strafe back and forth from side to side through your shield to minimize the incoming damage too. Stuff like that. You can get pretty creative with it. Like I said though, there's lots of applications of this shield, including blocking enemy ults, like Iron Man's, like you'll see right here. Or Scarlet Witches, or just about any offensive ult, really. It just soaks it all up. Even if it only has 1 hit point left, it'll just take all the damage and shatter. You can also use the shield to isolate an enemy, so put it behind them so they can't receive healing. It's a great way of turning a 1v2 into a 1v1 by creating a barrier that limits where you can take damage from. Heck, if an enemy Emma Frost uses her Psychic Spear to pull a soul fragment out of you, I do this all the time, just send your shield out to block off your own soul fragment so she can't shoot it. You just put it in between her and your fragment. And that way you can stay in the fight instead of having to run away to try and despawn the fragment. So long story short, the shield can be used in a ton of different ways. You just need to read the room and adapt it to suit whatever purpose you think is most valuable in the moment. Alright, let's talk about her primary fire real quick. This isn't complicated, we won't spend a lot of time here. You hold the trigger down. It shoots a laser beam of psychic energy. The more sustained damage you do, the more powerful the beam becomes until it gets 100% charged up and becomes incredibly deadly. You're going to want to keep it at 100 charge as much as possible so you can outdamage everyone else. But if you stop doing damage, it will start to lose charge very quickly. So it's all about momentum. But there's also some things you should know. Damaging certain things will generate charge, like shooting Loki clones, shooting enemy Emma Frost shields, shooting rockets, Sia ultimate. All of those things will charge your primary fire up. But other things don't charge it up, like, for example, Groot walls. But strangely enough, even when you're damaging things that don't charge up your primary, it will still keep it from losing charge, which is kind of weird. So shoot anything that can take damage. Some things will charge it up. If it doesn't charge it up, it will at least delay the drop off of the charge that you have already accumulated. Another thing, when you enter your diamond form, you won't lose any charge at all. You'll keep it until you exit your diamond form, and then it will start the timer before it drops off. So if you get to 100 charge and think, man, hey, I don't want to go into my diamond form right now because I don't want to lose my charge, don't sweat it. Go into your diamond form whenever you think it's going to be the right call, because you can go into your diamond form and then when you come out of it, you'll still be at 100 charge. No problem. Also worth noting, breaking those soul fragments that you grab with the Psychic Spear they break so much faster when you're at 100% charge. It's like less than a second. So make sure you're spamming that ability when you're charged up. So let's talk about that Psychic Spear next. This ability has a very rapid cooldown of 6 seconds, so you should be in the habit of using it very, very, very often. So I got to the point now where most matches from start to finish, I have around 20 Psychic Spear uses that make contact. And you can track that during the match by holding tab or pulling up the scoreboard, whatever the input is for you. It will tell you how many sentiences you've grabbed, that you've seized. So try to get that number up to around 20 in a full-length match. The range on this is great, by the way. You can be around like 25 meters out and land the Psychic Spear. That's outside of the range of your primary attack, though. So it's kind of strange to dial that in. But ideally, you want to be much closer than that, as enemies can break their connection to that fragment simply by walking far enough away from it. So try to use it when you're like within 10 to 15 meters as much as possible. Once you've extracted it, you can toss your shield up to keep you safe while you just stand there and shoot it until it cracks. You'll do damage to the enemy while you damage the crystal, and then when it breaks, you'll do a big burst of damage. This is great for dealing with enemies like Captain America, for example. While he's running around being ridiculously annoying, I say that as a Lord Cap myself, just grab that soul fragment and start wailing on it. It's also great for damaging enemies around a corner, so you step around the corner, you throw out that Psychic Spear to rip out that soul fragment, and then you back around the corner where you're no longer in the line of sight, and you just sit there and shoot the soul fragment for free, right? But definitely also remember that E-Shift-E combo that I told you about at the beginning of the video. You can still damage that soul fragment in your diamond form, and you'll break it much faster too, unless you've got your primary already charged up. Let's move on to her diamond form. This has two real purposes, honestly. So one is to quickly eliminate squishies and divers. The other is to finish off tanks. Now, ideally, you should not lead with this against a tank. You shouldn't open up a fight with an enemy tank by going into your diamond form. I've tried it tons of times at this point. Usually what you want to do is you want to get an enemy tank to like half health or so, and then, you can toss the shield behind them and then go into your diamond form to try and finish them off. But don't lead with it against a tank if you can help it. But anyway, when you hit shift, you'll go into your diamond form where you'll lose all of your range in exchange for damage resistance and huge melee damage. And you'll be immune to being CC'd, so you can't be stunned or swallowed by Jeff or hit by an Agamotto or whatever, okay? Your primary attack turns into a series of punches that deal out serious damage. Your E becomes a choke slam, where you dash in the direction that you're facing. Even if that's up in the air, you can do that too. But you'll dash a couple of meters, grab a hold of an enemy by the throat before slamming them down onto the ground for big chunk damage. By the way, this is a great way to negate a Jeff ult in general. So if your team's all grouped up, Jeff pops his ult, you go diamond form, he swallows all of your teammates, and then as soon as he resurfaces, you hit E, and you choke hold him out of the ground, and then slam him down, and kill him because he's pretty squishy. You'll kill him pretty easily and save all of your teammates' lives. But it's basically a free kill when Jeff uses his ult on you, because there's no way for him to evade your attack. If you go into diamond form, you know exactly where he's going to be, in the center of that circle, as soon as he finishes swallowing. Does that make sense? Free kill for you. But this choke slam ability will CC anything that can be CC'd, so you'll grab Spider-Man out of his ult. I do it plenty in the background. You can stop Penny in her tracks when she's ulting, running around. You just grab her, be like, nah, stop it. It even works against the Thing, who can't be moved. You can still choke him and slam him onto the ground. Your healers will love you forever if you use this to peel a diver off of them, like Black. It's great against Black Panthers, okay? And Magics and Spideys, even Wolverines. But when you choke slam them, you'll pull a 180 when you do it. That's important, so remember that. A lot of times, you're going to follow it up with a roundhouse kick with your right click. This is your crystal kick, and it catapults people away from you. If they slam into a wall or a hard surface, they'll take even more damage on impact. So you almost always want to end with the kick, because you don't want to kick people away from you when you're in your melee only mode, right? You're basically kicking them out of your range, so you can't do damage anymore. So don't open with that unless there's a wall right there to slam them into, right? But try to kick them into surfaces for huge damage. But you can also kick them off the map too, and you definitely should do that because it's hilarious and disrespectful. There's plenty of places on these maps for you to take advantage of that. The kick can also hit multiple enemies, so you could very well kick 2 people into the same wall or off the map at the same time. Now we definitely need to talk about her ult. When you pop your ult, you'll have to look at enemies, and if you have direct line of sight on them, you'll have to hold their gaze for a couple of seconds before they get entranced and start walking towards you, and you'll just do constant, steady damage during that time. Now, it's important to know what this ult isn't, okay? It's not a team wipe ult, okay? It's not a big damage ult. Enemies will break free of your influence after a few seconds, and they can run away, get healing, whatever. Also, any shields can block you off, like other Emmas, Doctor Strange, Invisible Woman, Magneto, Cloak's right click. I mean, a ton of characters. A ton of characters can just negate your whole ult with the push of a button. So what is it good for? Well, first, it's good for focusing down flyers and healers. So they don't have as much health, they tend to be a little bit more isolated and easier to ensnare. But you also want to use it when your team is there and you have other sources of damage in play. So you never want to solo pop this ultimate unless it's like a Hail Mary, right? Never solo pop this ultimate in like a 1v3, 1v4, 1v6, whatever. You'll probably kill no one. But if your team is there, and it's like a full skirmish that's going on, then the enemy will have other variables that they have to deal with, other damage sources that they need to try to block and evade. You want to capitalize on chaos with this ultimate for the best results. You can also combo it with friendly duelists like Psylocke's ultimate, Moon Knight's ultimate, even Squirrel Girl's. It's super fun that way and highly effective. Okay, so now that we've dissected her kit, let's talk about general gameplay tips. First, positioning. So with Emma Frost, you are the front line of your team. Okay, you are not a diver, so stop chasing enemies way deep into the spawn. That's somebody else's job, it's not yours. You might even go forward like that and get a kill, but in doing so, you left your front line weak and vulnerable, and maybe a Spider-Man dies or Black Panther dies and kills one or both of your healers, and so it's not a fair trade. So even though you feel like you did something useful, you actually were a detriment to your team by overextending. So don't do that. Don't get too greedy. Try not to extend into their back line unless you know it's a safe play. But otherwise, that's not your job. Think of yourself as the front bumper of your team's car. You want the healers right behind you, at least one of them, and you're going to hold the line, or you're going to draw a new line in the sand for your team to advance to. So take the enemy Vanguards on head-to-head, but also turn around and peel for your healers. If the enemy team is running like double dive, hold off on pushing the objective and bait the dive first. Peel, go into diamond form, kill a diver first like Spidey or Black Panther, and then group up and push the 6v5 on the point. I'm to the point now where if I go a whole match without getting a thank you prompt from one of the healers at some point in the match, I just assume that I played poorly. Now let's talk about ideal matchups and bad matchups. So first let's chat about Wolverine. You know, there's a lot of them right now with the event mission forcing people to play him. He's a tank buster, but Emma can deal with him, but you need to know how. So I kill a lot of Wolverines in the background gameplay. So remember, he can't actually kidnap you with his dive if you're in your diamond form. So focus him with your laser beam first, chip off some damage, whittle him down, and when he closes the gap and gets, close up to you, that's when you know he's going to try and carry you away. That's when you go into diamond form. And when he impacts you, hit E to choke grab him, slam him down for big damage, and then bash him into a wall with your roundhouse kick, and he's cooked. Like, not even his second chance hit points can offset all that burst damage. But if you go into diamond form too early, he's just going to wait it out. He's going to wait for it to expire, and then he'll take you and carry you away, and you'll have no real way to defend yourself. Another quick tip, by the way, your diamond form has a fairly long cooldown, so if you're in your diamond form, hit shift again to exit it as soon as possible. Don't let that timer run all the way out unless you're actually in combat. But if you're not in combat, cancel it as soon as you can. If you get a kill, no one else is in melee range, cancel the diamond form ASAP so you can start cooling it down for when you'll need it next. I do this plenty where I hear the zip zip of a Spider-Man, I turn around, it looks like he's about to dive on a healer, so I go into diamond form and then he flies away. Well, I immediately just cancel my diamond form, because if I just, walk in my diamond form, I can't do any damage in melee because nothing's close enough to me. I may as well just cancel it immediately now that I know it's not going to be useful and restart that cooldown, okay? And similarly, cancel your Aegis shield often too to recall it and start recharging it whenever possible. So some of the gameplay in the background was during my early hours with her. You'll actually see me forget to recall it sometimes in those clips, which is embarrassing, but you live and you learn. Continuing talking about matchups, if you get in a fight with the Thing, just remember that your diamond form kick loses its value against him because you can't knock him into walls or off the map. I don't recommend that you use the diamond kick unless other guys are close to him and you might hit them too, but otherwise your primary attack and your E will do more damage. So I recommend actually using your standard primary form fire against him. He's huge, and so it's really easy to charge up your beam on him. Use your psychic spear on him a lot, break the soul fragment, that charges your beam too. I will tell you that flyers are a problem for Emma Frost. You don't have a lot of range. The only time you're going to be dropping flyers is when they get out of position, so it's kind of on them, not you. But if you catch them in a smaller room with a low ceiling, or they fly too low, you can deal with them then. But a good flyer knows how to stay out of your reach, and they probably will. I've been playing a lot of Human Torch as well after the buffs. He was my favorite duelist before the changes. He's even better now, and I'm going to go over that in another video, hopefully this week. But I absolutely cook Emma Frost with Human Torch right now, and there's really nothing they can do about it. If there are good flyers on the enemy team, just use your Aegis shield to block their sight lines and minimize their potential damage. That's the best you can hope for. The last matchup I want to mention is the Punisher. A really good Punisher with a solid healer can be a problem for you. His shotgun team up with Rocket is just mean to Emma Frost because we have to get close to do damage, and that's where his shotgun's just going to shred us. You can use your shield to minimize the damage, but they'll break that pretty quickly and use their ammo team up to wreck your hit points even in your diamond form too. So best to push Punishers when you have a teammate with you to help create more chaos. All in all, what's my final assessment of Emma Frost? I think Emma is an incredibly powerful hero with a super satisfying kit. I think she'll be a very popular choice moving forward, and I think you'll see a lot of her even after the initial hype dies down. She has clear strengths where she shines, but she also has hard counters to help keep her in check in a competitive environment. But I know that I'll personally be adding her to my list of mains moving forward, as I love playing her, and getting kills in her diamond form is like way too fun. Side note, if your healers are bad, Emma's gonna get decimated, fair warning. But she's now my 6th tank to get to the Lord status, and I'm not stopping there. Thanks so much for tuning into the video today. If you enjoyed it or learned something new, will you let me know by leaving a like in the video, as that is the best free way to support the content right here on YouTube. And drop your Emma tips in the comments section below for other viewers. And consider subscribing for even more Marvel Rivals content, as I remain committed to only bringing you the best guides I possibly can, rooted in experience and not assumptions. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.